Now, following the removal of Dr. Benjamin Bolmer from his VP position, the Vice President Economic Cluster, the biggest question that has remained in the mind of so many South Sudanese is, will Mel at some point in future make a political comeback? Will he, just like the rest of the political elites in South Sudan, when they get removed by President Kiir, they go in some kind of political vacation, and then at some point when Kiir has seen that he needs someone in a certain position in his government, he goes back to his political dustbin and recycle them and bring them back into government. Will this be a case with Dr. Benjamin Bolmer, where at some point in future President Kiir will look at him and see some importance in him and recycle him back into the political space of the country, or this is the end of Ball's political career? Some people argue that Benjamin Ball is dead and buried. Politically, I'm not saying literally. Politically, he is dead and buried. So many people argue that, but is this the case? Now, since Mel was removed, there is no any statement that followed that decree that explains to the public clearly why he was removed from his position as Vice President Economic Cluster. The President issued a decree that is not accompanied by a statement on why Dr. Benjamin Bolmer was removed. And this has left so many people with lots of debate in their mind. What could be the reason why Benjamin Bolmer was removed? Could it be a political misunderstanding? Could it be that Mel has developed some kind of envy over the presidency? Could it be that he has suddenly become overambitious, that he wants to become the president of the country over Kiir? Could it be some kind of scandal? So many people are left with lots of questions in their mind. And they're hoping for that day when the president will perhaps release a statement that explains to the South Sudanese why President Mel was removed from his position as Vice President Economic Cluster. But as I said, that in this video, I want to try to tackle the questions on whether Mel will make a political comeback into the political space in South Sudan, or his removal will mark an end to his political career. Now, if you have been keen in observing how Kiir has been using his new leadership style of issuing decrees, you'll realize that he only removes some individuals and throw them in his political dustbin temporarily, and that when he has realized that there is a position that needs to be occupied, perhaps he goes back and visits his dustbin and looks who can be able to serve in that position, and he goes back and recycle them, or he appoints totally new person. That has been the case of President Kiir over the few years and months. That is how he has been running the country. Now, to answer the question whether Mel will make a political comeback or not, if you look at the decree that actually removed Benjamin Bolmer from his position, you'll realize that the decree was a kind of strange from all other decrees that has been issued to remove other leaders. The decree that was issued against Benjamin Bolmer did not only relieve him from one position. The decree that was issued in the National Broadcasting Corporation, SSBC, removed Mel from the National Security Council as a member of the National Security Council. That means he is no longer have access to the intelligence of the country. President Kiir issued a decree on the same time, removing Mel from the army. That is when he was demoted from a full general to a private. That means Mel at the same time, lost command or influence over the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, the SSPDF, and that includes in all operations and kind of sections in the army. It could be the Navy, the military, or even the Air Force, if at all the country has. He has been deprived of all the command that he was given initially. And Kiir did not only end there, he went ahead and actually removed Mel from being the deputy chairperson, first deputy chairperson of the SPLM party, which is the ruling party in the country, making major decisions in policy, in governance that runs the country. And finally, Kiir removed Mel from his position as the vice president, economic cluster. And therefore, if you are to look at all these moves made by Kiir on the same day, the decrees that relieved Mel from various positions, you can easily understand the gravity of the offense that Mel might have committed against President Kiir or against Kiir's government. And that can clearly leave you with a clear understanding of whether Mel will make a political comeback or not. Because the number of decrees issued that deprived him of all those positions can clearly explain to you that the amount of, or the amount of crime, or the crime committed by Mel, perhaps, I'm not saying he committed a crime, but the disagreement or the reason for his removal was so much that even Kiir couldn't sympathize to live for him maybe as some kind of powers. He removed them all from him. That means perhaps Mel has disappointed Kiir, and that can easily be translated in the decrees that were issued by President Kiir to remove him from the National Security Service, to demote him from the army, to remove him from the party structures and as the first deputy chairperson of the SPLM party, and finally to remove him as the vice president economic cluster. So you can easily see that and weigh and analyze and come to a conclusion that perhaps it will be very hard for President Kiir to trust Mel again. It will be very hard for President Kiir to go back and look at Mel in the eyes and reinstate him at some point in the future as an occupant of a certain political position in his government. It will be very hard. Perhaps if Mel will ever make a political comeback, it may not be through Kiir's reinstatement of him, but if South Sudan becomes a democratic suddenly, maybe in the next elections, he'll go down to his constituency and appeal to the people and ask them, persuade them, and that if at all he is to come back into the political space, he may come back through an electoral process, but not through an appointment or a decree that brings him back to political space under the government of President Kiir. And that can easily be understood, can easily be seen through the number of decrees that were issued to remove him, depriving him of all the privileges and powers that he had. That clearly tells you and makes you come with a conclusion that it will be very hard indeed for Vice President Mel to make a political comeback under President Kiir's government. Perhaps if he is at all to make a comeback, then that will be through an electoral process. He can vie and become anything, and the people entrusted him, then they can vote for him and bring him back, and that is when he will re-emerge in the political space of South Sudan, but not under appointment under Kiir's government. But that is my personal opinion. In politics, things work differently. Kiir might look back and bring him to serve under his government, but the probability of that move it's very low.